All right, in this screencast, I am back on page 360, and I'm looking again at this graph of latitude and average annual temperature. So we did it by hand, and I did my best to draw what I thought was the line of best fit. But now we're going to do it on the calculator. So what we need to do is we need to actually go back to the previous page where the data is. Okay, so we're going to take that data and we're going to put it into our calculator. Voila. I think it's probably easier, even though I think y'all can see that okay. All right, so I'm going to just do second memory. I got to turn it on first. Second memory. And just reset everything so that anything that I have in there is kind of nuked and gone. All right, so here's what I need to do. I need to put in latitudes for my X values. That's going to be list 1. And my average annual temperature is going to be put in for list 2. Remember, that is stat edit. And here we go. I'm going to pause it while I do that. So hopefully you guys follow along. Get your lists put in. All right. So I've got my lists put in, and the next step, remember, is to go to the second function button and hit the y equals so that we can go to our stat plot. And we've got to turn our plot on, so hit it until the on blinks. Okay. Then we need to go to the window settings so that we have something reasonable. I only need quadrant 1 of my graph. So let's see, latitude, the smallest is 13. So I'm going to maybe do from 10 to biggest is 55, maybe 10 to 60. And I'm going to go up by like 6s. Y minimum, let's see. I'll go from 30 up to 90. And I don't know, maybe I'll do 6s there as well. Okay. All right, so then hit graph. And there are my points. Now, my points on this are a little more zoomed in than my points were here. Basically, it's the same graph. It's just been cropped a little bit. And notice that my X is a little bit more stretched than my Y, but that's just simply because of the screen of the calculator. But anyway, there we go. Now the next step is to figure out a line of best fit for this set of data. Okay. All right. So we now go to stat, calculate, and we want a linear regression. In other words, we want a line of best fit. So we hit option 4. Let's see if I can get it to where y'all can see it a little better. Okay, so 4. And we need to tell it that we're using list 1, second function 1, and then comma, second function 2. So it's list 1 and list 2. And trying to make the screen happy. All right, and then hit enter. And it gives you your slope is -1.011, etc. And that your y-intercept is 99.6485, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then we want to actually draw the line of best fit on our graph. Okay, in order to draw our line of best fit, remember we're going to go to y equals. Basically, that's telling you, hey, for plot 1, we want something here for y1. Then we go to vars or VARS, click. We're doing something that has to do with statistics, so hit 5. Go over to EQ. Remember, option 1 is our regression equation. Basically, you're asking, hey, draw the line of best fit. So if you just hit enter, 1 is pre-selected, and it puts in the equation that was generated when you asked for the ax plus b, puts it in there for that first line. And then all you have to do is say, please graph, and it draws the line of best fit for you. Okay? Then one more step. Remember, if you go back to vars and 5 and EQ, and instead of picking 1, you pick 7 and hit enter, it will give you the linear regression. So this one has a pretty strong correlation as well, negative 0.96. This one is a strong negative correlation this time. Okay, the last one that we're going to do just as a walkthrough and practice is this one about altitude and boiling point from page 363. I actually have the one that I scribbled all over right here. Okay, remember, what we did is we plotted by hand, and then I did the best that I could to estimate the line of best fit using a ruler and, kind of eyeballing it. But again, it's more accurate if we do it on a calculator. So we're going to take these data points and we're going to put them in the calculator. So first thing you might want to do is just go ahead and clear out all of your lists and everything. You can go manually clear them out, or maybe a little bit quicker is just clearing your memory. So second memory 7, reset everything. Okay, so I'm going to move my calculator over here so I can see my lists. Okay, so first thing we need to do is go to my stat and edit, because I've got to make a new list. Here's my, let's see, which one are they doing? Okay, altitude is my X, so that's great, 597. Okay, I'm going to pause this while I enter. You guys pause it while you enter, and then we'll get back together. All right, here's what my two lists look like. I'm back on the unscribbled on page for whatever reason. But the next step is to go to stat plot. Okay. Turn on plot 1. So on needs to be blinking. Okay. So I've got the plot turned on. I need to adjust my window settings. I'm going to leave X-min at -10. But the X maximum needs to probably go all the way up to like 6,000. And the X scale going up by 1 is going to be too many tick marks, so I'm going to maybe go up by 100s, something like that. The Y minimum, boiling point, let's see, smallest value is like 201, biggest value is 210. So I'm going to say 200 to, I don't know, 215. Okay, so that should include all of my points. Go over here to graph, and there are my data points. Notice that there's one that's right there on the y-axis, so it's kind of hard to see. All right, so there's my scatter plot with those 5 values. Like I said, there's one right there that's a little bit hard to see. There's this one, and then there's one to the left. Okay. All right, but now I need to figure out the line of best fit. So the next step is that we are going to go to stat, and we are going to ask our calculator to calculate the linear regression. In other words, the line of best fit. That's option number 4. Remember, your X values were list 1, comma, your Y values were list 2, and hit enter. And it gives you that your A is -0.001537.9, blah, 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 blah. And that your y-intercept was 210.50. Okay. Okay. Notice that when we did it by hand, here's the equation that we got, and it's a little bit different than what the calculator gives us. I'm eyeballing it. They're doing it more accurately. All right. Okay, next step, just to review how to do this, we're going to take this line and we want to make the calculator actually graph it on the scatter plot. So put the line of best fit onto the scatter plot. Okay. Okay, come up here to y equals. Basically, you're telling the calculator, hey, the equation that I want in here that I want you to plot is the line of best fit equation. Okay, so go to the VARS, whatever that stands for. This is a statistics application that we're doing. We want to generate the regression or the line of best fit equation. It's pre-selected as 1, so all we have to do is hit enter, and it dumps it into that y1 equals. Okay, and then the next step is just to simply hit graph, and there is your line of best fit. Okay. Notice, please, that a line of best fit doesn't necessarily hit all of the points. A lot of times it doesn't hit all the points. Okay, but let's now look at what kind of correlation is being shown by this relationship. So let's go to VARS again. Still a statistics application that we're using. Go over to equation. This time, instead of hitting 1, we want 7 because we want the R value, the correlation coefficient. So just hit enter, and it's negative 0.9577. So it's a pretty strong correlation, right? And that's about it. That's all the practice. You know, that's a lot, but when you start doing the same thing over and over and over on your computer, on your calculator, you kind of become more familiar with it. At this point, you've got one other part to do, Crash Course Part 2. But that is a different assignment in Google Classroom, but it is kind of a continuation of the same concepts.